Let us start with a prayer. This is on page 196 of Universal Prayers. The first one on that page, top. From the Devi Parada Himapana Stotram. You are familiar with that, composed by Shankara. Parada means mistakes you have done. Kshamapana means forgiveness. This is a hymn seeking forgiveness from the Divine Mother, Devi, for all the errors, mistakes we have done. Also, this prayer is to be able to remember God, Divine Mother, or our Ishtadevata at the last moment of our life. In the 8th chapter of the Gita, we studied that whatever thought is uppermost in our minds at the last moment of this life, that indicates our future. If we leave the body thinking about God, then we'll reach God. If we leave the body thinking about the worldly affair, then we'll come back to the world. So that is why this prayer is important. Om Namokshasya Kamksha Nacha Vibhavavancha Pihdime Navijnana Peksha Shashimukhi Sukecha Napunaha Atastvam Sanyate Janani Jananam Yatu Mama Vai Pradani Rudrani Shiva Shiva Bhavani Tijapataha. O Divine Mother, I have no desire for liberation, nor any hankering for wealth. Neither do I cherish any yearning for knowledge, nor any desire for happiness. O Mother Divine, this much only I seek from you. May my life pass in reciting the divine names. May I be able to leave this body reciting your name. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace. Peace be within us all. Peace and harmony amongst all beings. And peace be everywhere in nature. Adi Daivika Shanti. Natural calamities, may they not affect us adversely. I think we have to do verse number 26, Devi.
25, Swamiji.
25 we have to do. Okay. Yes. In verses 24 and 25, 4 methods, 4 paths are given on how to reach self-knowledge, Atma Jnana. This is Jnana Yoga we are studying. For Bhakti Yoga, there is only the simpler path. Repeating God's name, chanting God's name, some glories, singing devotional songs, hymns, constant remembrance, that's worship. Those are the easier paths for Bhakti Yoga. In this chapter, Jnana Yoga, knowledge of the self, knowledge of Brahman. That is what we are discussing. 4 methods are given. So, verse number 24 described 3 methods. 4th one in verse number 25. The 3 methods we studied earlier they were Dhyanenatmani Pashyanti Kechidatmanam. Kechid means some people. Atmanam Dhyanena Pashyanti. See the divine self within one's own self by dhyana, meditation. One method. Meditation on the self, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, is difficult for many people. Thank you. So other people, Anye, others, Sankhena Yogena. By Sankhya Yoga means the path of Vichara. Vichara Marga means the Sankhya. Here Sankhya means analytic thought in the following way. Shankara's commentary I'm reading in English. Sankhya means analytic thought, Vichara, analysis. In the following way. How to do Vichara? These are the constituents, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, the body, mind, the physical material part of our personality is made up of components of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And also the Kshetra was described in the 5th verse, made of 24 cosmic principles. The 24 cosmic principles which Sri Ramakrishna refers to in the Gospel, they were all listed in one sloka, sloka number 5 in chapter 13. Mahabhutanyahangkaro buddhiravyaktameva cha indriyani dashaikam cha panchachendriya gochara. Those are all parts of Prakriti, parts of Kshetra. They constitute the Kshetra, physical part. But Kshetrajna, the consciousness part in us is different from that one. So I'm not the body mind, Kshetra, I'm the Kshetrajna. Thinking like this one. These are the constituents of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. The self is their opposite, being the witness of their operations. Witness of their operations means whatever activities happen in the body and the mind, Kshetrajna is the witness, not the participant. Consciousness does not participate in any action, no kartritva, no agency for action, no bhoktritva, no not experiencing result of action. That will come later. Where action happens? In the body mind. Where the fruits of actions are experienced, good and bad, in the body mind. And I am not any of those things. So I means the consciousness is pure, the witness does not participate in any action, does not suffer and enjoy anything. That kind of vichara we have to do. That is Sankhya Yoga. This thought is a yoga by which we see the self by the self, Atmana Atmanam Pashyanti, in the self. It is present within us, not outside. Sometimes the dualists, bhakti people, they think of God as being separate from them. That is one view. It works, but really God is not separate from us. He is our very self. But in the beginning, that separation seems to be there. And some people want to remain always separate from God. They don't want to become one with God. This is what Sri Ramakrishna said. I don't want to become sugar. I want to eat sugar. I want to be separate from the Divine Mother. Hanuman said the same thing. Hanuman said, I want to be always your servant, separate from you, serving Sri Rama. Wherever Rama's name is taken, I want to be there as Hanuman. That is one view. Bhaktas want to remain separate. But Jnanis don't like separation. I'm the self. I'm that Atman. That kind of vichara is Sankhya Yoga. The last phrase, no, that is Anye Sankhena Yogena. First class of people, Jnana Yoga. Second category of people, Sankhya Yoga, Vichara Marga. Third category of people who gain self-knowledge, Karma Yogena Chapare. Karma Yoga. That we have studied in detail. Doing all actions as worship, dedicating all actions to God, and developing detachment from karma phala, and remaining equanimous in success and failure. Sloka number 247, 248, and 330 that we have gone through several times. 248, Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya Siddhya Siddhyo Samo Bhutva Samatvam yoga uchyate. Essence of karma yoga is there in all the three shlokas. Siddhya siddhyo sama bhutva. Sama means being equal, unaffected, unmoved by success and failure. Siddhi asiddhi. After having done our best, we should do our best. We should not cut short our effort. Simply because result is not in our control, we do not mean we should not do our best. We should do our very best. Quality work, high quality work with devotion, dedication, and joy, and gratitude. Nothing should be cut short in our effort. Result is not up to us. Whatever result comes, after having done our best, then we should accept it calmly, even if it is not up to our expectations. That is just of karma yoga, detachment from karma phala. And karma yogena cha pare 3. Jnana, Sankhya yoga, karma yoga 3. In verse 24. 25 describes the fourth method, which is easier, much easier. Anybody can do that one. Anye tveva majanantaha shrutva-nyebhya upasate tepi chati tarantyeva vrityam shruti-parayana. Other people who do not prefer dhyana, meditation, or sankhya, vichara, or karma yoga, they have a fourth method available. That is, anye, other people, evam ajanantaha, not knowing. Dhyana yoga, karma yoga, sankhya yoga. Anyebhya shrutva, from other people. Anyebhya means from other people who know. Those who have known the truth from them, shrutva, hearing from them, upasate, they worship. There are teachers who have realized the truth. We should approach them and listen to them and follow their instructions with full faith, because they have reached the goal. So in their words, we should trust these words, because they know the truth from experience. The words given and teachings given by teachers like Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swamiji, and incarnations, Rama, Krishna, their words we have to follow as if it is true, because they speak from experience. People like Sri Ramakrishna, whatever they taught from their own experience, not by reading books. Other people, lecturers, we read some books and we repeat what we have read or understood. But not people like Sri Ramakrishna, teachers like Sri Ramakrishna. Whatever they taught was from their direct personal experience. So we can follow their advice, simpler method. Anye, other people, anyebhya shrutva upasate, hearing from others, they worship, follow their instructions. Tepi, they also, mrityam aticharanti, they cross over death. Mrityu means ignorance of the self. Mrityu means death, not death of the body. Death here means, mrityu here means ignorance of the self. That is true death. Te shruti parayanaha. Shruti means hearing. Shruti also means the Upanishads. Shruti parayanaha means those who are dedicated to hearing the truth from the sages. By listening to their words and following their instructions, we can reach the goal. That is simpler method, we can follow that one. So 4 methods were described in verses 24-25, 4 paths to gain self-knowledge. Now the very interesting topic comes. Here in verse 26, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, whatever object is there, being, animate or inanimate, moving or unmoving, whatever is there in creation, It is a combination of two parts, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Prakriti, Purusha, material consciousness. That is explained in verse number 26. We will understand the implication of that one. We will also understand what is meant by combination. Verse number 26. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam sthavara jangamam kshetra kshetrajna samyogat tadvidhi bharatarshava. Bharatarshava is a name Sri Krishna uses to address Arjuna. Rishabha means bull, very strong. Bull means strength. Bharata means among the Bharatiyas, he was the strongest person, Arjuna, Bharatarshava. Yavat kinchit sattvam sanjayate. Whatever, sattva means any object, living or non-living, moving or non-moving. Sattvam, any object, sanjayate, comes into existence. Sanjayate means comes into existence. That means it was not before. At some point, things come into existence. That means whole of creation. The only thing that does not come into existence, always present, without beginning, is Brahman. That we studied in the earlier shloka. Anadimat param brahma. Anadi, no beginning, no birth, no date of birth, no birthday celebration for God. All the way do celebrate Rama's birthday, Krishna's birthday for incarnations. For God, there is no birthday. He is always present. Kalatita, beyond time. All other beings like us, we have a beginning. Sanjayate, any object that comes into existence, it was not there before a certain point in time. That is a combination, samyoga. Whether it is a sthavara or jangama. Sthavara means unmoving objects. Jangama means moving objects. Actually, in reality, all objects are moving. But relative to earth, certain objects are not moving. Objects like mountain and trees, they don't move. Houses don't move, fortunately. If they could move, it will be a big problem. So, relative to earth, but in reality, everything is moving. Earth itself is moving in several ways. Earth is rotating on its own axis, causing day and night. And Earth is rotating around the sun, causing the seasons. And the solar system itself is moving in our galaxy, Milky Way galaxy. And the galaxy itself is moving in space. So there is nothing that is not moving in a real sense. But relative to some objects, other objects are moving. Like that. Savara Jangamam, whatever object moving or unmoving, Sattvam, any object that comes into existence, Sanjayate, that object, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Samyogat. Samyoga means combination of two parts, Kshetra, Kshetrajna. Tadvidhi bharatarshava, know that all objects, moving and unmoving, that come into existence are made up of two parts, namely Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Samyoga. Here, a question arises. Kshetra is material in nature, matter. Kshetrajna is pure consciousness. How can these two dissimilar things combine with each other? Two material things can combine. If you take sugar and milk, combine them, they mix. They become a solution because both are material, matter. But here, Kshetrajna is not matter, it is pure consciousness, like space. Space cannot combine with any object. It is no shape or form, does not matter. In that case, how can Kshetra combine with Kshetrajna? Here, Samyoga means not physical combination. It is superimposition. Superimposition means one thing superimposed on other thing, not really combined. What is the example? What is meant by superimposition? The example given in the commentary is, if there is a snake in semi-darkness, it is perceived as a, no, if there is a rope, if there is a rope, in semi-darkness, it is perceived as a snake. The snake is superimposed on the rope. Two things are not there to combine. Actually, one thing is there. Only Kshatrajna is there. Kshetra is only, Kshetra is the snake. Kshatrajna is the rope. Two things are not there. Only one thing is there. One thing is being perceived as the other thing because of misperception, ignorance. In that way, Kshetrajna is perceived as Kshetra. Pure consciousness is our true nature. We are not seeing that. It can't be seen. It's not material. If it's material, we can see. If it is pure consciousness, we cannot see. But you are seeing the body instead, body mind. That kind of combination is called samyoga here. Kshetra kshetrajna samyoga. So really not physical material combination. But one thing being seen as the other. And what about the kshetra then? Is it not present there? If kshetrajna is the only reality, and you are seeing kshetra, how to explain kshetra there? In the commentary, Shankara says, different from the kshetrajna, different from the field, just as seeing magical elephants and mansions or objects in a dream. In a dream, we see things which are all real in dream. In dream, we don't know that the things we are seeing, people we are seeing are not real. Because when we wake up from the dream, we realize there was nothing there. Nobody came, nobody went, nothing happened, good or bad. But in dream, many things happen. Sometimes suffering comes, we cry, sometimes we laugh. Enjoyment, party happens in dream. Many people come. But when the dream breaks, when we wake up, you realize there was nothing there at all. But at the time of dream, during dream, they were very real. So this waking state, all the kshetras that we are seeing, they are like characters and events in dream. So when we wake up from the waking state, the waking state is also like a dream state, long dream. When you wake up from waking state into what state? Higher state of consciousness called Turiyavastha. Three states we are aware of: waking, dream, dreamless, deep sleep, Sushupti. But beyond these three is Turiya state, pure consciousness, no object, nothing, no seer, no seen. Only Atman is there. When we wake up to that state, when we realize that, when you go into Samadhi, you call it Samadhi state. In Samadhi, there is no world. You realize there was nothing there. Nobody came, nobody went. And all that I was experiencing was like a dream. It disappeared. It never happened. Now it is real. I was born in India. I went to school there. I went to school here. I became a Swami. I'm in Washington Center, Chicago Center. All real. But when I go into Samadhi state, transcending waking state also, higher state of awareness, then what happens? I realize that all of these things simply were like a dream experience. They never happened. I never born in India or anywhere. I never went to school anywhere. I never became a Swami. I never no center. All dream only. That is Kshetra. How to explain Kshetra, which is appearing so real right now. Everything is real. My body is real. I can feel the pain. I cannot say it is not real. I tried. It didn't work. When I went to dentist a couple of days ago, I remember Swami Vivekananda. He could overcome body consciousness, even in this most severe case of pain, carbuncle big surgery. Nothing worked. I kept telling myself, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, but still I had pain when I was in dentist. So it's very high state. Lot of sadhana I required. Then we go into samadhi. By the grace of God, one step we take, 10 steps he comes towards us. That one step is our responsibility. All our spiritual practice and that we do amounts to only 1/10, one step. 10 steps he takes towards us. By his grace, we go into samadhi. At that time, we realize all this was only a dream. The waking state, which was so real, dream. That is how to explain Kshetra. So what is the implication of this one? The implication is this is not real, absolutely real. So we should not become attached to something which is not real. And it is full of pain and pleasure. Three gunas are there, sattva, rajas, tamas. Kshetra has 3 gunas, components of Prakriti. Sattva, rajas, tamas, it keeps changing. Sometimes happiness, sometimes unhappiness, sometimes pain, sometimes pleasure. That's the nature of Kshetra. So we should realize that's really unreal in the absolute sense, this whole Kshetra, body, world, everything. And I should not become attached to it. It will pass. I should try to transcend it. And going to Samadhi, when I realize my true divine nature, Atman alone abides. There's a very nice book by the title, Atman Alone Abides, written by Swami Vivekananda. He was a Dutch Swami. He was a disciple of Swami Turiyananda. I think he also had seen Swami Vivekananda in New York. So he wrote a book called Atman Alone Abides. So that Swami passed away, Swami Vivekananda. He was known as Gurudas Maharaj, disciple of Swami Turiyananda. They were traveled together quite a bit. So that is superimposition. Samyoga means not real combination. An unreal substance cannot combine with a real substance. Kshetra is unreal. He gives an example here in the commentary. Magical elephants and mansions are objects seen in a dream or cities in the sky. Sometimes when there are clouds in the sky, they appear, you can imagine things there. Some city mansion is there, some chariot is there. Clouds appear like that, but then not permanent, they move away. It's visualization. Really, there is no city, there is no chariot, there is nothing in the sky, only water vapors appearing as in different shapes, moving. So that is the reality. Kshetrajna is the only reality. It is nothing other than the divine, other than the Paramatma, supreme reality. Why they appear different? Jivatma, Paramatma, we are considered 2 separate things. Really, they are not. Upanishad says, and Mahavakya, Ayamatma Brahma. What appears as Kshetrajna, individual consciousness, is same as supreme consciousness, infinite, eternal. But why they appear separate? Sri Ramakrishna explains that one. Why Jivatma appears separate, different from Paramatma? He gives the example of a lake or a water surface with a stick is floating on that one. Stick floats. When the stick floats on water, it seems that water is divided into 2 parts. One side, one part this side, one part other side. Sticks give the appearance of dividing the water into 2 parts. But it's not real. Only one water is there. There are no 2 separate waters. Stick is the ego or Maya. Maya makes us see my individual as separate from the cosmic. So that Maya can be removed by spiritual practice, by grace of God. Really, there is no difference. I am Atma, Brahma, Mahavakya in the Upanishad. This Atman is nothing other than Brahma. Appears to be separate. Like space in the cup appears to be separate from space outside. Really, there is no separation, only one space. But because of its association with this particular cup, the space in the cup claims it to be separate. I am separate. And assumes the qualities of the cup. If the cup is circular, I am circular. If the cup is 8 ounce capacity, I am 8 ounce capacity. the ignorance called misperception or due to Maya. Why it happens? Due to Maya. Maya covers reality and projects the world on top of it. Avarana Shakti, Viksha Shakti. So that is Vichara. So in this way, by conducting Vichara this way, in our minds, we should realize that there is only one reality, and that is Brahman. What appears as the world, other people, myself, body, pain, pleasure, gain, loss, is all dream-like reality. That's how Shankara explains that in the commentary. Kshetra kshetrajna samyogat tadvidhi bharatarshava. So what is the implication? What we should do with this information? We should realize that this all unreal. We should not become attached to this world, attached to the body, because these are not absolutely real. They appear to be real as dream things appear real in dream. They are not real. I am the Atman, that is only reality. I am that. So that is the path of Vichara. Discrimination, that's called Viveka. God only is real. The world is unreal, Sri Ramakrishna says. World means whole, whatever we see in waking state, Jagan Mithya, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Brahman alone is real and we are that. Aham Brahmasmi. Ultimate truth, Advaita Vedanta. Somewhat difficult to practice. Easier path is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, combination of Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. So all the paths are presented here. Yavat Sanjayate Kinchit Sattam Stavara Jangamam Kshetra Kshetrajna Samyogat Tadvidhi Bharatarshava. It also has another implication, which is explained in the next verse, 27. What we should do with this information. 27. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatsu avinashyantam yah pashyati sapashyati. Sarveshu bhuteshu, in all the beings, whatever beings we are seeing, good, bad, human, non-human beings, moving, unmoving beings, whatever beings we are seeing, sarveshu bhuteshu samam tishtantam parameshwaram. The Parameshwaram, Supreme Lord, is present in the same way, samam, in everyone. But everyone is not equally aware of God's presence. Many people don't want to even believe in the existence of God. But regardless of our belief, God's presence is unconditionally there. Reality does not depend upon what we believe. Our conception, our belief, that does not alter reality. Reality is always reality, same, unchanging. And that is God's presence in all. Whether you accept it or not, believe it in it or not, that does not alter the truth. Truth is unalterable, always there. Sarveshu bhuteshu samam tishtantam parameshwaram. Parameshwara, Supreme Lord, present in all the beings alive. This and the next sloka were quoted by Swamiji in his lecture. Very important slokas. He emphasized these two slokas. Vinashyatsu sharireshu. Vinashi means something that goes, something that perishes, destructible, not permanent. Vinashyatsu kshetreshu sharireshu avinashyantam parameshwaram. That Parameshwara, avinashi, God is indestructible, eternal, avyaya, imperishable. All bodies are perishable. All bodies in nature. Whole nature goes out of existence. Even the galaxy goes out of existence. Not to speak of small beings like us in the galaxy or speck. Earth itself is a speck in this galaxy. So everything goes out of existence. Vinashi. But Atman is avinashi. When the body dies, Atman does not die. Eternal. So death means physical death of the body. Annamaya kosha goes away, that is all. A part of Manomaya kosha, subtle body, samskara, they remain. Other parts go away. So that is not true death. True death is ignorance of the self. Body, mind are imperishable. Atman is imperishable. Body, mind are perishable. Sorry. Atman is imperishable. Where did we study that one? Second chapter. Second chapter, 17, verses 17, 18, and 20. Second chapter, verses 17, it says here, Avinashi tu tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam. Tat Avinashi. Tat means Brahman. Avinashi, imperishable, vidhi, no. Idam sarvam yena tatam, pervading this whole universe. That's what verse 27 says. Pervading all the bodies, Savam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram avinashyatsu. Vinashyatsu avinash. Vinashyatsu means perishable bodies. The containers are perishable, body, mind. Atman, content, consciousness is imperishable. No division there. Appears to be divided into parts, but only one indivisible, infinite, pure consciousness. That is avinashi, imperishable. Then verse number 18 also, Antavanta ime deha. These bodies, deha means body. Annamaya kosha and pranamaya kosha. Part of manamaya kosha also. That body, kshetra, antavantaha, they go out of existence. Antavan, they are not eternal, perishable. Nityasyokta sharirinaha. Shariri is nitya. The indwelling spirit is eternal. Body, minds are perishable. Then verse number 20, second chapter. Here we are discussing this because in verse 27, Sri Krishna says, Vinashyatsu avinashyantam. Atman is avinashi, imperishable, eternal. Bodies, kshetras are vinashi, perishable, temporary. Najayate, verse 220, very important verse. Najayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita va nabhuyah ajaha nityaha shashvata ayam puranaha tahanyate ganyamane sharire. Sharire hanyamane, bodies are perishable, they die. When the bodies die, atmana hanyate, atman means eternal. As atman, we are eternal. You are not perishable. As atman, as bodies, we are perishable. So that is what he is explaining here. Vinashyatsu sharireshu, in the perishable bodies, avinashyantam parameshwaram. Parameshwara is avinashi, imperishable, eternal, infinite, pure consciousness. Yaha pashyati saha pashyati. He who sees, sees. If we see the truth, we see. Otherwise, we misperceive and see the wrong things. Confused. Confusing body, mind to be eternal, which is not. Atman is eternal. We are that Atman. Thinking of the body and the mind is the height of ignorance. The highest, biggest mistake we all do, human beings, most human beings do, is to think the body, mind as the self, Atman. They are perishable outer coverings, only like garments. Body, mind is like a garment. This is not permanent. The wearer of the garment is permanent. Atman. So did we study that one? 222. Ulka is the right answer. Asam sijirnana yatha viraya namani grinnati naro parani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Dehi means the indwelling spirit. Deha means the body. The spirit, Atman, present in the Deha or appears to be there, samyoga. That is eternal, permanent, unchanging. And the body mind is like a garment. Rasamse means garment. Jirnane means worn out garments. When this garment becomes worn out, I put it aside, get a new one. Similarly, Atman, the resident consciousness. When this body becomes old, not functioning, it sits aside, gets a new body. This we call it rebirth. Atman remains eternal. Bodies change. Young body becomes old body dies, and another young body comes. So we should not become attached to that. The whole message is detachment. Not being moved by what happens to the body mind. Somebody praises, somebody blames, sometimes pain, sometimes pleasure. All these happen to the body mind. We should not think it's happening to us. We remain unattached. That is detachment. That one detachment lesson is the message of all these shlokas in the Gita. That's why Sri Ramakrishna said, essence of Gita is repeat Gita 10 times. You say, keep saying Gita, Gita, Gita. You hear yourself saying Tagi, Tagi, Tagi. Tagi means one who, Tagi in Bengali means Tyagi in Sanskrit. Tagi means one who renounces attachment to body. That is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, Pashyati Sapashyati. Then we go to verse number 28. Same theme. Samam pashyam hi sarvatra samavasthitameshwaram mahinastyatmanatmanam tato yati param gatim. For a person who sees the same self in all, sarvatra samam pashyan ishwaram, samavasthitam ishwaram. Ishvara, Supreme Lord, is present, samavasthitam, equally present, sarvatra, in all the bodies. We have seen that before in 27. A person who sees the divine presence in all, regardless of their appearance. People appear different, everybody is different from each other. But piercing through the shell of personality, body, mind, personality, seeing the divine presence in all, that is true vision. One who sees, that he sees, such a person sees. Most of the time, most of us are carried away by the appearance. When you see a person, what we notice is the outermost qualities of that person. Body, mind, man or woman, then what work he or she does, engineer, doctor, clerk, or some other profession, what language he or she speaks, what kind of food he or she eats, what kind of car he or she drives. These kind of things we see. We miss the most important thing in that person, divine presence in that person. It remains hidden from you. What appears outward is the body mind. That's what we pay attention to that. We are guided by that. We are moved, carried away by that one. No, we should not pay attention to that. We should pierce through that shell of personality and see divine presence in all. That's what great sages do. When you approach a great sage, they don't care about how rich you are, or how much money you make, or what language you speak, how many degrees you have. They don't pay attention to that. They see divine presence in you. When a holy person sees divine presence in people, ordinary people like us, what does it do to us? It enkindles our awareness of divinity within us. That's why we are told to seek holy company again and again. Sri Ramakrishna, Narada Maharshi also, they said, holy company is very important many times. Why? A holy person is one who sees God in us, disregards our outer appearance. It does not matter if we go to see him on a bicycle, or we walk, or walking, or in a Mercedes. It is not important to the holy person. The holy person sees God in us. That is what makes us become aware of God's presence in us. That's the power of holy company. Reminds us that God is present. It makes us able to see God's presence within us. That's why the importance of holy company is extolled in many places. So a person who sees God in all and everyone, samam pashyani sarvatra, samavasthitameshwaram, present equally in all. What does such a person do? What happens to such a person? Atmana Atmanam Nahi Nasti. Nahi Nasti means does not kill the self with the self. What is by meaning of killing? How can I kill a self? Literally, we should not take like that one. Kill means remaining blind to something. Supposing there is an unemployed person and the job opportunities are there and he can get a job if he only sends the application and seeks interview. But he does not do it. He needs a job, but he does not do anything. Opportunities are there, vacancies are there. Such a person kills the opportunity. That means he loses it. Though he can get it, he loses, does not acquire it, does not do anything to get it. Such a person, though Atman is there within oneself, totally disregards the presence of God within oneself and in others. So such a person, as if God did not exist at all. So he kills the opportunity to see God within oneself and in others. A person who sees God in everyone, including himself or herself, does not do that mistake. He remains always alive to the presence of God, aware of the presence of God. That was what we studied in the 6th chapter. In 6th chapter, shloka number 30, Bhagavan Shri Krishna said, "He who sees me in all and sees all in me, to him I am never lost." 6:30. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mahi pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami satame na pranashyati. He who sees me in all, the Lord is saying, Bhagavan is saying, and sees all in me, to him or her I am never lost. I am always with them. Such a person always in constant communion with the divine, within oneself and within others too. God is never lost to such a person. But for a person who does not care to do that one, does not believe in God, does not believe in the existence of God in all, to such a person, God is lost. Though God is there, he misses. He lost the opportunity to see God. So we don't want to be like that. If you see God in all, then what happens? Result is Tato yati param gatim. Last part of 28. Param gatim yanti. Yati. Yati means reaches, goes. The paragati means supreme goal, which is moksha. In the commentary, Shankara says, paragati means moksha, liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Liberation from all limitations and suffering permanently. Experiencing the divine bliss, Satchidananda. That is moksha. We get that one. By doing what? Samam pashani sarvata, seeing the divine presence in all, practicing the presence of God. We get liberation. By practicing the presence of God in all and everything and oneself, a person gets liberation. So how do you practice presence of God? The constant remembrance. Whenever we see something or somebody, even inanimate objects, even wicked people, even animals, when we see something, we should immediately remember divine presence in that being. Although that person may not be willing to accept it or may disbelieve it, that's not our problem. We see God present in all and everything. Whether that person sees God's presence within himself or herself is not, we can't do anything about it. It is up to that person. A time will come and he or she will realize, but for everything, time has to come. Everybody will not see God at the same time. So we take our time. Okay. Such a person reaches liberation, param gatim yati. And this is also the basis for all virtues. All our scriptures and teachers say, always tell the truth, satyam, don't injure anybody, practice ahimsa, don't steal anybody's property, asteyam. Like this, many instructions are given. Don't tell untruth. All these instructions are, why are they given? Why we should not tell untruth? Why we should not steal somebody's property? Because if you tell untruth, somebody, whom are you lying to? Whom are you lying to? Earlier we saw in the 13th verse, all ears are God's ears. He hears to everybody, everybody's ears. So I'm thinking that I'm talking to this person, but in actuality, the God in person, in that person, is who I am talking to. I should be aware of that. That should not steal somebody's property, because whose property we steal? God is in that person. So that is the basis for all virtues. This sloka, samam pashyani sarvatra, and the previous one, samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam. These two verses are very important. Seeing the presence of God, practicing the presence of God in all and everything, doing all our actions as service to God. Whenever we do any action, even eating, walking, talking, sleeping, breathing, every action that we do, office work, taking care of children, cooking, cleaning, or going into space, whatever action we do, it's all service of God. Because whoever is there, God is there. Whatever is there, material, God is there. Even eating is service of God. How do we know? 424. Most familiar sloka in the Gita. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi. That means the food we are eating is Brahman. The action of eating is Brahman. And the person who is eating is Brahman. One who sees Brahman in all these things constantly realizes that he is Brahman. He or she is Brahman. That's why every action has to be done constantly being aware of God's presence in all and everything, in the material we use, in other people. That is how to practice presence of God. You remember Brother Lawrence, how he practiced presence of God. When he was cooking in the monastery kitchen in France, those days in 17th century, kitchen means not like our modern kitchen. No food processor, no electricity, no hot water, no tap, nothing, no machines. Everything had to be done manually. And he could not stand for a long time because his leg was injured in a war. He was a veteran. In spite of that, he did everything as worship of God. And with so much joy. Work should be done joyfully because work is a privilege. That is all implication of seeing God in everybody, in every action. When work comes, we should do it joyfully, not grudgingly, because it is worship of God. With love, with gratitude, with joy, you have to work, offer it to God. That is practicing presence of God. If you do that, when what happens? Tato yati param gatim. Person reaches liberation, reaches supreme goal. Paragati means supreme goal, liberation. See these two verses, 27, 28, very important. Now, the next question is, which came earlier in the 3rd chapter. Who is the doer? Recently, I gave a Sunday talk on that one. Who is the doer? We studied that in 3rd chapter. Who is the doer? Action happens, 3rd and 5th chapter both. Who is the doer? That's answered in the verse number 29. Prakrityaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashaha yah pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sapashyati. The first line is almost same as first line of 327. A long time ago, 3rd chapter we studied, but we shouldn't forget the old chapters. Chapter 3, verse 27. Exactly same thing Sri Krishna had said. Prakrite kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashaha. 327 first line. First line here in 29th verse. Prakrityaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashaha. Almost same words. That means where actions happen. By whom actions are done. Prakrite karmani. Prakrite karmani. Kriyamani sarvasha. By the components of Prakriti. Prakrite kriyamanani karmani sarvasha. What is Prakriti? Body, mind, sense organs. Purusha is consciousness. Purusha remains unaffected, uninvolved in work. Consciousness in it does not involve in work. Only body, mind, sense organs, they get involved in work. And where does the fruit of actions come? Where do we enjoy or suffer the fruit of good and bad action? Body, mind, sense organs. So we are not that one. So I'm not affected by actions, nor am I the doer of actions, nor am I affected by the result of action. I am Atman, I am the Sakshi. That kind of vision is possible if you recognize where action happens. That's the answer is given in verse number 29. Prakritya eva karmani. By Prakriti alone. Sarvasha karmani kriyamanani. All actions are being done. Prakriti means body, mind, sense are separate from Purusha, consciousness. Kshatrajna is Purusha. I am the Kshatrajna. I am not involved in action. I am not doing anything. My body and sense organ they do, and I because of mistake, I think I am doing all these things. Whatever the body does, I take it upon myself. And karma, when it is done, it produces result, good and bad. So the result of karma only happens to body, mind, but I think it is happening to me. I did this, I am suffering. I did that, I am enjoying result. So that is superimposition. That is ajnana. You should separate these two things. I am not the body, mind. I am not the doer of action. I am not the enjoyer of the fruits of action, good and bad. That kind of vichara is possible by studying slokas like this. Yah pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sapashyati yaha atmanam akartaram yaha pashyati. Atman is akarta, means non-doer. Body mind is the karta, doer. Akartaram atmanam yaha pashyati. One who sees the self, Atman, as akarta, non-doer, sa pashyati. He sees the truth. Other people mistake the body mind to be the self and say, I am the doer. I means the body mind to them. That is the biggest mistake. Jnana says, Jnana Marga says, I am not the body mind, I am the self, I am the Atman. Atman is no action, no result of action, no pain, no pleasure, no gain, no loss. All this happens to the body. So this truth was given in chapter 5. Who is the doer and who is the enjoyer of the fruits of action? Chapter 5, there are two shlokas are there, 8 and 9. Very important shlokas. Chapter 5 studied a long time ago, but we should remember. So that in those two shlokas, 8 and 9 of chapter 5, Sri Krishna had already said, who is the doer? Body, mind, sense organs, not the Atman. So what does the Jnani say? Jnani thinks I am the Atman. Does not identify with their body mind. Such a Jnani who knows he is the Atman, such a person also does all the actions. Jnani also eats like other people eat. Jnani also speaks like other people speak. He also walks and talks and does things. But Jnani says, I am not the doer. Ajnani says, I am the doer. So what the Jnani says is explained in verse 8 and 9 of chapter 5. There he says, Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavit Pashyan srunvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan swapan swasan pralapan visrajan grandhan unmishan nimishan nati. All these are 13 examples of actions we do. Everybody does. Jnanis are Jnanis. Pashyan, seeing, srunvan, hearing, sprishan, touching, eating, walking, etc. Breathing, everything. Swapan swasan, sleeping, everything. But Jnani says, Naiva kinchit karami, I am not the doer. Ajnani says, I am the doer. I am eating, I am sleeping, I am suffering, I am enjoying. Ajnani, because thinks he is the body and the mind. Jnani says, I am not the doer. He also does same actions. But if you ask the Jnani, sir, you are also eating, drinking water, but how can you say you are not doing anything? His reply is the last line of verse 9 in chapter 5. He says, Indriyani Indriyartheshu Vartante. Action happens by the interaction of Indriyani, one or more sense organs. Mind is also a sense organ. With one or more sense objects. There is the eye. I drink water from a cup. Jnani also drinks water. I say I am drinking water. Jnani says I am not doing anything. Naiva kinchit karami. If you ask the Jnani to explain, you are drinking water, how can you are not doing anything? He says, the action of drinking water happens by the interaction of sense organs and mind telling the hand to grab the cup of water, and hand grabs the cup of water and takes it to his mouth and drinks. Action is done, drinking water. Where is the I? Am I the mind which says I want to drink water? Am I the hand? Or am I the cup? Am I the water? Am I the table on which the water is there? Nowhere I is there. But Ajnana is put the I where it does not belong, where it does not exist. By thinking I'm the body, mind, I'm drinking. The Jnani says I'm not doing anything. I'm the Atman. Where is the action? Action happens body, mind. I'm none of those things. Result of action accrues to the body and the mind. I don't suffer or enjoy. I'm beyond those things. That is Jnana Yoga. That is how we have to separate body, mind from the Atman in all actions. That is verse number 29. Prakrityaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashaha. By the Prakriti alone, body, mind alone, all actions are being done. Atmanam akartaram yaha pashyati sa pashyati. He who sees Atman as akarta, non-doer, is a true seer. Other people who think that they are the body, mind, they are not the seers. They are not seeing the truth. That is the gist of this sloka. Very important. Again, what is the implication? Detachment. I'm not the body, mind. I'm the Atman. 29. So, you have 5 more verses. Let us stop here. I shall say the closing prayer, then we can have question and answers. Om sarve bhavanta sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Om, may all be happy, may all be free from diseases and other problems. May all realize and practice what is noble and auspicious. May no one be subject to any kind of suffering or misery. Om peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. Adi Bhautika Shanti. And may there be peace everywhere in nature. Adi Daivika Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. All of you stay well, and God willing, we shall see next week.
Maharaj, can I ask you something?
Yes.
I just, when we are talking about the superimposition,
Kamalamma, yes.
we
Yes.
are superimposing our body, mind, or the kshetra on the kshetrajna, right?
Yeah, both ways. Yeah, you are thinking that I am the body and the mind, while I am not the body and the mind, I am the Atma. That misperception, superimposing the snake on the rope. Body mind is the snake, rope is the Atman, unchanging, eternal. The appearance is snake, but I am thinking there is a snake there. When jnana dawns, somebody comes, Guru comes and says, throws a flashlight, say, look clearly, where is the snake? Oh, then it was only a rope. I thought it was a snake. That is jnanodayam, knowledge dawns. So that kind of misperception is called superimposition.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Any other question? Okay. All of you stay well, and next time we hope to finish this chapter and begin in chapter. Gunatraya, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Very interesting.